right, you guys, welcome. It is Unapologetic with Donovan Sadiq. Once again, I told you guys I am focused and looking straight ahead as we have local elections coming up. And I have a good friend of mine, as you guys know, he's known in the city of Moreno Valley. His name is Mr. Daryl Terrell, and he stopped by because he saw my video from earlier. So if you guys haven't seen my videos, go to Facebook, Inland Empire and Farmer, and you'll see me from time to time over there talking this and talking that. So Daryl, welcome to the show. What are you doing? What have you been up to? Let's chat it up, man. See what's happening here. The word on the street is you are running for Riverside Community College Board Trustee. So, a lot of stuff is going on with the trustee position. I think that's Tracy Vackard's position.
Yes.
And she's finally going to step down with that.
Yes.
And your opponent happens to be Dr. Carrie Finn. Very formidable opponent, but guess what? Nothing is formidable as long as you take on the challenge.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
So what's been up with you? Summertime's going on here. What's been up? To tell us what have you been getting into?
Well, I've been serving on the Riverside County Behavioral Health Commission for the last 8 years, and some good news that has come out of there. We have 2 crisis management teams that's dealing with the homeless issue and substance abuse coming into our community, and that's part of being part of that commission to get our fair share of resources.
Okay.
And also, too, we got another important things coming. At RCC, you remember when I ran for school board, my main mission was to have a collaboration with our county and mental health mental health in our school districts to work together to collaborate to help bring medical services to the campuses. So lo and behold, I was in a position on the County Behavioral Health Commission to do such a thing. Now we're having we bring in medical services to the Moreno Valley campus, also to Riverside City College, also the UCR to help with our students that may be in crisis and to deal with other mental issues that may go on the campus. So I've been working hard on behalf of the people in our community.
Cool. Are you still living in Moreno Valley?
Yes, I still live here in Moreno Valley.
Okay, great. That's an awesome thing. So we have an election coming up. It's going to be November 2nd. There's only you and Dr. Carrie Finn in there. You're I wouldn't say necessarily a native, because nobody really is a native that is here. We've known each other for at least almost 10 years now.
Yes.
And you are actually a product of the RCC school district.
Yes, I am. I came out here in 1988 to live. Like I say, I tell people it's like the story like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
But I didn't have all that trouble.
The broke Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, there you go. The broke
Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But I had 2. I had an aunt and uncle who were retired military people at March Air Force base
at the time.
And so I came out here and to better myself, and I am a product of RCC because RCC gave me a lot. It built my character, it built my confidence, but also I received 2 degrees, AA and AS out of there.
Okay, AS and what?
It's just plain associate science degree.
Science degree, right? General science,
and associate arts degree.
Okay, I have 2 degrees from there too.
Well,
so I'm with you.
We're the same boat.
So let me ask you this: so since you went through RCC, then you ended up transferring where?
To UCR.
UCR. So you stayed in the local area.
Well, yeah, it was a springboard for me.
Yeah. Now, which is kind of unusual because UCR's black population has never topped over 5%, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I got you.
So it's UCR's, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody, but UCR is known as a very predominantly Asian school. A lot of Asians from all over California come down and go to that school, and they have a lot of great programs there. Matter of fact, I want to get my mom into the agricultural program that's going on there, so that's a great thing. So if you guys are listening, that is a great thing. So here's the main question.
Okay.
Why are you running in this race? Because as we know, Daryl, you've ran for mayor. I mean, you are unofficially, at least as far as I'm concerned, the unofficial mayor of Moreno Valley because you go to city council meetings, you speak up. You're involved in the community very heavily. You're involved in the county very heavily. A lot of people know who you are. So your name is out there. Your people are very familiar with you.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the questions a lot of people are going to say is this. You've ran for a lot of different positions. So could you kind of clarify why this position?
Well, this position, if people have followed me over the years,
Mm-hmm.
my deep passion is, think about it. What does the school board has in common with the mayor, city council, and the RCC? They're all involved in economic mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Each sector, each position working together helps improve people's lives to give livable wage jobs with marketable skills. So that's why when you look at all the positions, all that they have in common is economic mobility. That's what it's about in our community. We need economic mobility to get livable wage jobs, which we have in our community, but there's no career pathways to get to them.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is each position that you've ran for, your platform has always been and will always be economic mobility for the people who live in the community.
Yes, and the only way you get economic mobility, you look at education. Education is probably your number one springboard to economic mobility, because it brings you to a different level where you could have access to jobs that pays a livable wage.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what everybody's looking for. So let me just ask you this: since you're kicking off the campaign, everything's closed out. You have one opponent, which is people think, oh, that's going to be easy. It's really not. When you're going against one opponent, it is very difficult to go against head to head, unless you're like a Mike Tyson, where this person has no chance. But I remember when you ran in the last election, you had garnered almost a little over 6,000 votes.
Yes.
And with almost like just social media
Yes.
type stuff, just putting the videos out, putting your ideas out, whatever. And I thought that was a very, very good campaign.
Oh, thank
so
you.
a lot of people know, like I said, who you are. We see you at the city council, and we know what's going on. So starting your campaign, a lot of people want to know is, what's your mission statement? Well, what are you guys, what is you and your team, how do we identify you? What do you stand for?
Well, first of all, I'm a product of my community. A product of my community, which I've been here for 34 years. But here's something else. Being a product of RCC, I'm an alumni of RCC.
Yes, we are. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Tiger.
So when you think about what my whole platform is about an alumni creating career paths for the future. That's what my platform is based on. It's creating those pathways where our people can have marketable skills from Reno Valley College to go right into existing livable wage jobs in our community, and bringing a possibility of attracting other high growth industries into our community. So that's where it comes from. Me being a product of RCC and being an alumni who went to RCC, who had to have parking troubles, trying to get, running and hoping you don't get a ticket and all that stuff. And
parking in the residential area.
Yes, and running, and have limited classes. But
absolutely. But
that's part of me being a product of our school system and being an alumni. I went there. I graduated there. I developed skills, but to take those skills and to create career paths for people in our own communities, those kids who don't want to go to high school, who doesn't want to go to college, and choose to say, you know what, I want to go out there making it on my own without being saddled in debt. Well, Reno Valley College offer career pathways to those. Okay,
so let me ask you this.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm an alumni just like you.
Yes.
Of course, we're far removed from when we went to school down there, but you remember the days sitting on the quad doing absolutely nothing, and you're supposed to go to class and you're just sitting there kicking it, whatever, with your buddies and stuff, hip hopping or whatever you're doing.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: you brought up livable wage. What is your idea of a livable wage? I mean, living in California with inflation and everything that's hitting us right now, I'm a high school kid, and I'm a senior, and I'm getting ready to leave the nest, or at least look for some opportunity. Because if I was a kid right now, I wouldn't necessarily be terrified, but there's not a lot out there. And, I don't think college is for me, because that's one of the reasons that led me into the military, because I wasn't ready to go to college. And a lot of kids are not ready to do that. So long story short, what is your idea as a Californian of a livable wage of a young person coming out of high school?
Livable wage. Let's say a livable wage would, to me, if you're a single person, to me would be,
well, most are single.
Yeah, 40. I say 40 to 50,000.
Okay, yeah, but how would you get a $40,000 or $50,000 job coming right out of high school? Well, how would you do it?
Well, here's the thing. See, that's the thing about Moreno Valley College. Mm-hmm. And think about it, when I was coming out of high school, I didn't have...
And that was the 1950s, man.
Well, yeah. But there was no really options for me, because I think it was put in my head to go to college to get a education.
That was the thing. But and our parents lied to us, by the way. For you guys that are Generation Xers like Daryl and myself, our parents lied to us. The mantra used to be, go to college, you're going to get a good job. But we found out that is not true.
But, and see, what you're talking about, there's other career paths.
Absolutely.
And think about it during the pandemic. Who benefited the most? Who didn't suffer? The people with the college degrees, for some of them didn't, they suffered. But the people that had to fix your toilets, the people who construction, they all survived. But those
hairstylists, people like that, vocational people.
Yeah, vocational. And see, the thing is, there are careers out there that pays that kind of a wage, a livable wage, where you don't, all you need is a certificate or some training. And that's what Moreno Valley College and the other colleges in the district offer. They offer those type of career pathways. But unfortunately, here in Moreno Valley College, they don't offer those career paths.
Right. So let me ask you this: the trustee from Moreno Valley is specifically from Moreno Valley College.
Yes.
You're going to represent Moreno Valley College.
Basically, like a city council and district one where we live, like Melena.
Right. So you'll be in that area. So here you are, an alumni, somebody who actually went to the college. Unlike your opponent, Dr. Thin. I don't believe Dr. Thin went to RCC at all. And this is not to throw shade at Dr. Thin, but she's not alumni. She didn't, from my understanding, she didn't go to RCC, but she is a PhD, and I'm not sure if she taught there. Do you know if she taught there?
I don't know.
Okay, because I know she, I think maybe did Redlands or something like that. But here's a question that I thought was very, very interesting. What do you think is the most difficult thing about going up against Dr. Thin? What's the difference between you and her?
Well, I think because I'm not a.
I mean, what do you bring to the table versus what she brings?
Well,
to the
because
table?
I was a student there.
Yeah.
I understand the pains of being, like I said, paying for a parking space, trying to search for classes. I have experiences that some people who never been to RCC were suffering, and trying to find the classes I needed, the parking, the other expenses that becoming a RCC student.
Right.
I mean, so I have more practical experience because I knew what it's like to be a RCC student.
Okay, so talking to your opponent, let's say Dr. Thin happens to be on the board of trustees. Do you think she would actually do a better job than you?
Well, I don't think so, because the fact that she didn't go to RCC, she didn't attend RCC, to me gives her a disadvantage, because being a student there, I understand what these students are going through today. The same challenges that they're facing, I face. Only thing we're not, because when we went there, the class was like $7, maybe $7.
Yeah, 11 at the most. Yeah, 7 to 11. I remember when it went up to 11. So, everybody lost their minds.
Yeah, and the thing is, but these kids, they get 2 years free of college, but at the same time, they still face the reality of housing insecurity. They've faced, because a lot of these students are working parents too. So to understand, like for me, I was a working student and going to art, so we still face the same issues that we faced back then. That was for me maybe 30 years, I think 30-something years ago.
Right, and in those 30 years, you've gained a lot of experience as well.
Yeah. So
Dr. Thin is a Air Force veteran, and she has a lot of military background with her. She's been married for a very long time. Her husband's also in the military, or was in the military as well. Do you think because of her military ties and the benefits she gets from the military? Because I'm not sure how Dr. Thin, did all her education, but I can speak for myself. As everybody knows, I've got 12 different degrees. You've seen them on the wall up there and everything like that. I mean, factual. But thank God, because of the military, I was able to utilize that and further my education at no expense to my parents. So the question a lot of young people are going to have is this: how do I go to school without incurring a debt and get into a career field? Because everybody talks about warehouses.
Yeah.
Okay, warehouses where, Inland Empire, we're warehouse central, this is it, right? And they think that that's the only thing. What other paths do we have that, what if I don't want to work in a damn warehouse?
Well, like I said, there's welding, there's being an engineer, could be also aviation, which some people haven't really thought about, because you look around us, we are Marchfield, and we have an aging population of people, or pilots and mechanics, that maybe it's time we start.
Yeah, a lot of them are retiring. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys don't know this, you haven't heard about it. There is such a pilot shortage that some of the legacy airlines, like United Airlines, American Airlines, they have opened their own pilot school where they're going to teach their own pilots, because it's that much of a shortage. Now, a monkey can fly an airplane, but a monkey can't fix an airplane. There is a major shortage of aircraft mechanics. We're talking about people my age and my father's age that are now retiring. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but there is a severe shortage. And if you work for the airlines as a mechanic, you are starting out at least a minimum of $30 an hour, unless you're specialized, which you will make more money. So I'm just putting that out there because, like I said, I don't want to work at a warehouse. I don't want to work coding, but some people might want to work coding. So give us some ideas of some of the things that you're talking about there.
Well, again, when you look at it again, like you were just saying, we at Moreno Valley College, we don't have anything like that, a certification type of program for aviation where for mechanics or pilots. That's one thing that we can work with in March Reserve. We can make a partnership with them, or down at the Riverside Municipal Airport. But also things we need to think about. When you think about your environment, you think about your infrastructure, you need more mathematicians, you need engineering people to also, but the solar panels and
technicians, because now houses code wise have to they're basically built with solar panels in them now.
But you need somebody to fix them.
Right.
So it's an ideal path to create a pathway with some of these industries out there to give those folks the marketable skills, so when they can go through that career path, they could get that certificate and that job at the end of it. But also too, we look at truck driving. Okay. We don't have that around, but we got all these warehouses again around us, and we have no truck driving certificate program. Then we can work with labor. We can work with other trucking companies to create pathways like that. There's other things we can do too. Like I said, we got welding. But here's the thing. Again, all our high school students, we got Canyon Springs, you got Moreno Valley High, you got Valley View, and you have these other schools, and these kids, they want to get into some things like that. But, me being like I was at RCC, I didn't have transportation, so I just couldn't go. But if you want to take those kind of classes, you got to go to Riverside or Norco for those classes. But why should you have to go way down there when you have limited transportation and do it closer to home?
Right, exactly. Which makes sense too, because are we not the second biggest city in Riverside County?
Yes, we are.
So why, and there's no guarantee your bus schedule is going to make it parallel with your school schedule. Yeah. So I can't rely on that. There isn't really like a reliable. When we were in school, we didn't even have a bus that came from out here to go down there.
Yeah, exactly.
So why wouldn't some of these things be geared a little closer to home? because, if I'm still coming out of high school and I'm living at home, wouldn't that be more economical for me to go to school and still be at home and save money and get a technology degree and then go about my business?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, because again, when you think about getting our fair share of resources, that comes into mind, because we have to look at what's in our what industries are in our community. It's like people thinking we don't have air conditioners. You got your air conditioner going, or we don't have cars. A lot of these things, a lot of these programs that give livable wages are at other colleges like Norco and Riverside City. But there's no knocks on them. But the facts are, these courses, these certificates should reflect what's out there right now. Industries right there that need people to fill those positions, but they can't find anybody because we don't have an educated, skilled workforce. But again, that doesn't mean we can't create those paths. And that's part of my platform, is being an alumni who've been to RCC, who slept RCC
right.
to create those career paths with industries like that, so people can gain the marketable skills so they could get that livable wage jobs in their own community. You don't have to travel.
So basically what you're saying is the difference between you and your opponent is you're coming at it from a student's perspective and what you saw and what the need is. Well, versus somebody who's a PhD, academia, they talk in a certain term. I'm not going to say elitist, but when you're at the top of the academic chain, you're in an elite class of professors or whatever you want to call it. So you're coming at the problems from the way a student would look at it.
Well, yeah, because like I said, if I had known, the challenges I faced, because I think my first year at RCC, I didn't even have a car. So I know with trouble. Think about it. When you had to go to March Air Force Base for a class.
You
got off at the 16, then you had to walk all the way there. By the time you got to the back of the base, you were tired.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you look at it from a point of view as a student that had, because back in the day you didn't have Moreno Valley College. You only could take the courses at
RCC.
You had Moreno Valley High School or March Air Force.
It's funny that you say that. My very, very first college class was at one of those cubicles at Moreno Valley High School, which you see is down the street from. I don't live too far.
Yeah.
But, I was working. I was in the military, so I took a lot of night classes, so I missed out on a lot of the fun stuff that I can do in college. The funny thing is, I remember when I went to those cubicles, and the instructor was like, "Don't get used to these cubicles. They're not going to be here too much longer." Here it is almost 40 years later, and the cubicles are still there.
Yeah. The same thing at Moreno Valley College. We still got cubicles. At Moreno Valley College, went up there about a couple of weeks ago.
They're still there.
They're
temporary, 40 years.
Yeah. But that's, the challenges that we face are the same challenges these guys face.
So let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
Like I said, and you're coming at it as a former student, as an alumni person.
Yes.
Now, you've been involved in Moreno Valley politics for a very, very long time. Do you think because you are very vocal and known at the city council level that would help when you're on the trustee board?
Well, I think
in regards to, bridging any cross problems between the city and the board itself.
Well, that will help me. But also we have to look at too, I've got things done. Okay. And when you get things done, you get your fair share of resources. You can bridge the gaps between, like for me, if I was on the trustee, I could work with the mayor. I could work with the city council, council member Baca to create those Santa Cruz to bridge to create those career paths.
Sure.
If it's Jaime or Tardo, which I hope it does, then we can create those career paths. Working together, because the thing I think our problem in the past is we didn't have that kind of working relationship to bridge, to create those paths with the college, because those are the key components for economic mobility and bringing industries that we only could dream of if we work together to look beyond warehousing and other industries.
Okay. Well,
but we still, because like my mentor used to tell me all the time, he said, logistics, we got to deal with it. But the thing is, why do I have to get on the road? Any high school student that's in our colleges, they want to get into logistics. Why they got to go to Norco for the logistics program instead of having that Moreno Valley College? And we're the second largest city. You know, fight for your fair share of resources is what we have to have.
Right, exactly. Because, you know, and it's funny that you say that because, you know, you got this logistic program that's right out there in Norco. Norco, to me, never had the population to have that type of program there.
Yes.
When it should either been at the main campus, the city campus, or it should have came out here in Moreno Valley.
Yeah.
So people that are making these decisions, I don't know if it's just a big payoff to do that or whatever they're doing. Like you, I've been to all three campuses. I've taken classes at all three campuses. I was one of the first people that graduated the logistics course at Norco.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, though.
Okay.
You don't have the reputation like myself where you kick people in the teeth. So I think that you talking about working with all these different individuals, well, the one thing that I can say about you is you have a pretty good rapport with everybody. Everybody doesn't really have a problem with you, whereas some people, of course, you know, my situation, I'm not very liked by certain people because I do certain things, and you know, there's certain things are said, and, you know, and that's just the way it is, you know, and some people are doing that. But my question is this, you know, as we're sitting here, and it's kind of a trick question. Title IX. You guys, I know for those of you guys who don't know what Title IX is, that was a Supreme Court decision that said there must be equity in college sports for male and female. And I believe RCC is, not that they have a major problem or anything like that, but as a trustee, a lot of issues have been coming up with between men and women in the pros with pay inequality and whatever. So Title IX, what would be your stance in regards to upholding women's rights in Title IX? Because let's face it, there's a lot of people that say, oh yeah, I understand. They don't understand Title IX at all and what it really means. And they say the right thing, but yet you see young girls and women at the college level, we're not talking about pros, at the college level that are not getting the fair equity and treatment that they're supposed to get in regards to the law of Title IX. What is your stance on that?
Well, I believe in any situation like that, Title IX is supposed to be equal. And if one group, in particular like women, are not being treated fairly, that in situations like that we have to make it right for them. And I think because that's what the law says. So we have to follow the law, regardless of what their genders are, that they should have fair access to all facilities, services. And I know there's economics behind that, but I think regardless of the economic side of it, that women should be treated as fair as men. So they should be able to have same access to the facilities.
Okay.
Because even though they may think in some instances that the programs may bring more money in, but it really doesn't matter. Even though they bring
not at the college level. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. But the thing is, they should be treated
fairly and equally. So like I said, even if the men brought in all the money,
it doesn't.
The resources should be fair
exactly. Because the fact that what Title IX stands for equality, regardless of economics, and women should be treated fairly as men. Have access to weight rooms or whatever they need that men have. They should have it as equal to as well.
Okay, well, you know, a lot of people are listening to this right now and they're saying, "Oh, he's just giving them softball questions." Okay, here's a question I'm going to give you that we're just not talking about.
Okay,
and to let you guys know, these are not softball questions. Daryl doesn't know what I'm asking him, and I'm just, you know, we're just chatting it up here because this is like an intro to the Daryl Terrell experience. We all know Daryl Terrell. As a matter of fact, he was on my podcast years ago. He's one of the first guys that started out with me there. We're talking about Title IX, and you talk about fairness. What is your thought on LGBTQ and transgender athletes?
I think the same thing.
Same thing.
I think equality. I still feel equality, regardless who, you know.
Right. No. Okay. And I get, and a lot of us get what you're saying about equality. Transgender athlete. I'm technically born a male, but I am in women's sports. How do you feel about that? It's nothing to do with politics. How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about it?
I'm biologically a man, but I'm participating in women's sports. I told you guys that this is not like a gotcha thing, or we rehearse this. So how do you feel about that?
I think
There's a lot of controversy.
There's
a lot of controversy with that.
It is, but
because you're talking about equality and stuff.
Well, I still have to stand on the same platform that I said before. Same thing. So people should be treated regardless who we love or.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I'm biologically a male, and I'm participating in a female sport, even though I identify as a female, transgender female. That's going to cause a lot of controversy in regards to sports, because who was that guy that was a female swimmer?
Yeah.
And he won and beat all these girls and stuff, and he was genetically a thing. What is your stance? Because as a board member, you might come across an issue just like that. So what's your stance on that?
I have to think really hard about it.
I mean, is it fair that a biological man can participate in sports against biological women? Because let's face it, ladies, I don't care if you like it or not, men are genetically stronger, faster, and so on and so forth. What's your stance on that?
My stance will still be the same, because I'm just thinking.
So you're saying it's okay for a biological man to participate in women's sports?
But someone that says they are a female.
Right, they identify as a female.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I could agree to disagree,
sure.
But I still will stick to what I said.
Sure. No, like I said, I just wanted your opinion.
Because if it comes
on the board,
if it comes across the board like that, I have to stick to what I believe in. I can't.
But is that fair to biological females that they're competing basically against a male? Is that fair?
Okay. Let me ask you this question:
okay.
How would they? Let me ask you this: how would they know if they were? How would they know?
Well,
of course, physically, a person could be a transgender person. How would you physically?
When you're competing for in collegiate sports and stuff like that, you have to take tests and stuff to say that you're a biological male or a female. That you have to take a test. So.
Well, again, I just stick.
Okay, well, it's going to be a tough question.
It is tough.
And that's why I bring it up, because if Dr. Thune was here, I'd ask her the same exact question.
Yeah, I understand, but I said, I would just have to stick.
Now, if you're asking me as the host here, I'm going to tell you, I don't think it is fair to put a biological male against and into women's sports, because we have a competitive edge in regards to our size, our strength. You're always going to be biologically like that.
Yeah.
Now, would I have a problem with the woman playing in man sports? Absolutely not. You want to know why? Because women aren't as strong. That's why you don't see a lot of women dunking in the WNBA. That's why you don't see a lot of women football players. I'm not saying women can't play football, but they just can't play it with men because we hit a lot harder and stronger. So I just think it would be, this is me, this is not Daryl, this is me. It would be a competitive edge against women who work as hard as anybody else to put them in that position. And a lot of colleges, not just RCC, is dealing with this problem as it's coming down the board. So I would strongly recommend that you kind of think about it.
Yeah.
And because that's going to come up to you, and you're going to might have to vote on it.
Well, yeah. If it comes up to it, but like I said, what I know, like you just said, mm-hmm. I'll stick to my
belief.
My beliefs.
Right. So,
it's
tough. It's a tough thing, but because think about it, somebody your size, okay, that identifies as a female,
mm-hmm.
and that person wants to participate in women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But Daryl, you're what, 6'4"?
Yeah.
You most likely can dunk.
Yeah.
You're a big dude.
Yeah.
Does not give you an advantage over regular females. It does.
As you stated like that, it does.
It does.
Me being a male,
right?
Of course.
But even if you identified as a female, a transgender, you're still biologically a male. You still have the testosterone and all this other stuff, and this is a big issue in a lot of colleges right now. As a matter of fact, a lot of legislation is being passed to restrict transgender athletes from competing in, genetics that they're not.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah,
so
that's
that you can think about
that's a.
Told you guys I got him. I told you. This is not scripted.
It's tough. It's tough, but I would have
He's sweating over here, you guys. He's sweating.
No, I ain't sweating. No, I just stick with my guns, people.
No, absolutely.
I stick with my guns because people gonna have different opinions about it, but I have to stick to what I believe.
Right, absolutely.
And like who was that? Was that question about ice cream? If you want to please everybody, then sell ice cream.
Right.
That's and true. I'm not that kind of person. You're gonna have people that agree, and you have people that disagree. It's okay, but we could accept. We could agree to disagree.
Well, hopefully you guys won't have to. That board won't have to deal with that. But I mean, to see a 19-year-old female who trained all her life to be a certain athlete to get cheated out of a medal or something because she competed against a biological male, I believe is totally unfair. That's just me.
Okay.
Because we talk about fairness, that is totally unfair.
Oh, I understand.
Anyway.
That's cool.
But that's a good question. But see, I told you guys, this is not a scripted show. He does not have the answers.
No, I don't.
None of that. I mean, he gave us his honest answer. And that's what people want to hear. We want to hear how you actually really feel.
Well, that's how I feel.
Stuff. Okay. Awesome. So, in regards to veterans, and I'm a big veteran advocate. Dr. Thin is a veteran. She's a retired Air Force member. Mm-hmm. I believe a senior master sergeant or a chief. I can't remember exactly. A lot of problems when it comes to veterans at schools and RCC. Now, we talked about how I was telling you my story of when I started to attend RCC when I got stationed here at March. A lot of my credits didn't matriculate or transfer over in regards to, because I came from an aviation background.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's your plan to make it better to understand military transcripts to give these veterans, more credits or credits deservedly for their military time? Because a lot of schools will look at it and say, here, we'll give you PE.
Well, I look at it like this. I'm a big supporter of the military. Yeah. And my aunt and uncle were military folks. And you put a lot of years, a lot of training to serve this country. Yeah. And I think colleges a
lot of people are getting out young. They do their 6 years and they get out, and then they find out that their credits don't mean anything.
But see, we got to make those credits. We got to make those credits easier to transfer your military experience to college credits.
Right.
Because
you don't give us electives.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to spend all your time. See, you decide, I want to go to whatever college.
Yeah, we're already behind. If you think about it, if I did 4 years in the military and I joined the military at 18, I'm 22, 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Most of my classmates are 18, 17. So I'm an old man sitting in the class, and I'm starting from basically scratch. Well, these kids are ahead of me.
Well, you shouldn't. Your military service should not determine your military service. Let me put it this way in terms. It's a totally different. I mean, when I came out to California, I went to school and none of my credit went over, and it made me frustrated. But for a veteran or people that are serving in the military that gone through all that time and training and years and blood, sweat, and tears for this country, and you find out, you got to start all over again, that's frustrating. So, I mean, colleges like Moreno Valley College, RCC, district itself, we have to make it, again, as I said, it's to make it easier for your military experience to transfer to credit. So you can get the credit, so you won't have to start all over again. It's like, no, man, I decided I wanted to change. I want to beef up on my skills and everything. I should be able to. It should count for something when I go into civilian. Right. So that's what I think.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. If I was just an infantry guy and that's my whole experience, I was just in the infantry. It's kind of hard to matriculate your infantry credit into physics. You know what I mean? So we got to be real about that. But what I'm saying is, we can still use some of his infantry experience, maybe as a squad leader or something, as a leadership credit, and turn it into an elective. So instead of just having 3 years of PE credit, now you give him the 4 years or the 4 credits for leadership. At least he's got 7. starting or something like that.
It should count. It should count for something instead of not counting for nothing.
Right,
but
from zero. Yeah, so he doesn't start from scratch.
So that's what I would do on that level.
Yeah, but for my military members, that's why you should join the Air Force. It's an accredited community college, but depending on what your career field is.
Yeah.
So, because like I said, I went to RCC with all this aviation, and a lot of it didn't transfer. So I had to go to Valley.
Well, that's right. See, again, but if we had an aviation program here, then it would have meant something here instead of you traveling way over there to San Bernardino or Mount Sac and all these other places.
Well, real quick, we've got about 4 minutes left, but real quick. I'm in high school. Why don't we have, we have A&P classes for high school students. Why don't we have vocational type things so that way maybe a high school kid could get a leg up and get his certificate earlier by coming out of high school. Maybe as a senior program, he can start it there. And then when he graduates from high school, instead of doing 2 years to get his degree or the certificate, he's already got a year done by taking classes and, that bridge.
Well, yeah, I go back to when I was in school. We had vocational, but we didn't have that. But what you're talking about, it makes sense to have your vocational, that what you do in high school. The same thing I would say for the military, like you were saying before about having your military experience transform. Same thing should be for vocational. Say, for instance, using that experience, those credits you got in high school, and transfer over to a certificate program. Be a heads up. By the time you get there, you get your certificate, and if you decide you want to go out there in the real world, you should be able to.
Yeah, but I'm thinking as a young guy who's been in the city for a long time. It's so damn sad when our kids have to leave the city just to get training in a job that they really want to do, because we don't have. All they keep telling us here is warehouses, and I'm not downing the warehouses because I've never been against the warehouses. But like you said, we need other paths and other dreams so that these kids have options. As a parent, a lot of these parents would rather have their kids have a livable wage that stays in the city. You might not live at home, but I can afford an apartment maybe 3 miles away from mom and dad.
Well, see, that's when I fought all those years at City Hall to bring back my Raising Bar initiative. That was the whole purpose of that program, was to work with the private. See, the thing is, companies that want to come to our community, want to see an educated, skilled workforce, they're going to go to places where they can meet their needs.
Sure.
So, say, for instance, if we want those companies other than logistics, or we want other companies like the IT STEMs or whatever, then we got to raise the bar. And I've fought many years for is to create that hybrid, high growth apprentice training program where what happens is you show that company, hey, they can have an educated skill. We could create an educated skill workforce. How? Because we work with Moreno Valley College and we work the industry. So what happens is they come in, create the curriculum at Moreno Valley College, they earn and they learn. Then when they finish, they go right into that business. That's how you get other industries. You remember I talked about that before. So that fits right into the whole purpose of why I'm running for Moreno Valley, running for the RCC Board of Trustees, because I've been fighting for this for many years to see it happen. That we could get other industries other than logistics. We could get more medical. We could get more advanced manufacturing. We could get more IT stuff into our community. But we got to show the business community, and Moreno Valley College is part of the economic development as tool to bring those type of companies in, but we got to show them.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, like I said, you're more than welcome to come back on the show. We want to hear a lot more about you as you do your campaign.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to bring in other candidates, and maybe Dr. Thin you'll come on the show. I probably doubt it. We had our little falling out there. I just don't like to associate with people that are involved with coups, but that's just me. So, outside of that, Daryl, it's very hot out. Now, are you going to be knocking on doors, or how are you going to be doing this?
I'm going to have to do whatever it takes to get my message to people that I'm an alumni. I went to the RCC, and I'm trying to create that pathway to livable wage, and it's your future that I'm fighting for. So I will do whatever it takes, knocking on doors, whatever I got to do to get that message. So you could hear my message, knowing that Moreno Valley College is a symbol of hope. It's a hope of getting that job that you dreamed about getting, but you need to have a pathway to get there. And I want to be the trustee that create that pathway to the livable wage and to your American dream. I would do whatever it takes.
Okay, well, like I said, yeah, you're welcome back anytime. Like I said, I think we should get together and put your thoughts out there, because it's going to be very hard to get candidates to debate and things of that nature. So,
yes.
so make sure you come back and
and
let us know what's happening with that. Well, you guys, this has been Unapologetic Donovan Sadiq. I'm with Moreno Valley Trustee Board candidate Daryl Terrell, Mr. Moreno Valley. We'll see you next week.